Hey guys, so I am heading home from netball because it's anti-bullying week, and the idea is just really for me to share my story. Why bullying is still a big thing, and I think that it can be easy to ignore if it doesn't directly impact us in any way, if it's not in our faces. And so I think that it's fairly important to talk about it so that it remains somewhat fresh at least once a year in people's minds, to remind them to look out for bullying, to look out for bullies, to look out for victims of bullying, and to make sure that things are being done, because lives can be destroyed. So I'm going to leave this segment of a video to just put up some statistics that I found, I can't remember off the top of my head, about the prevalence of bullying in the United Kingdom. About me, I've spoken about how I'm autistic. I'm not diagnosed yet, I'm going through the process, and I didn't find that out up until about maybe 2 years ago. I think my mum had some inkling. I don't know that my secondary school teachers caught on. I don't think that people in my school caught on per se directly, although they might have found something odd about me. But anyway, I have grown up in many different nations. I'm not going to go into all of my life story, but I've grown up in many different nations. I was born in France, moved to UK at 2, moved to Bahrain at 8, and moved back to the UK at around 10, 11. Year 6, halfway through year 6, just before starting year 7. And when I joined year 6, I wasn't able to join the old school that I was in before, and I really struggled to make friends. I think I remember rationalizing to myself as a young 10-year-old, you know, these people have grown up with each other since reception up until year 6. I'm just coming in halfway, year 6, nearly at the end. So it's normal, everybody else gets along, and, you know, I'm a bit of an outsider. And then I remember this girl from abroad, a different country, joined our primary school after me, like a little while after me, and she I don't know, she got straight in, she made friends. I feel like I've struggled making friends growing up, but I think my mum tells me now that she did a lot of orchestrating in the background. I didn't know that back then. But I think that was the first time I ever felt kind of like, oh, is it me? We go to year 7 now, and I start secondary school. Only one person came from the primary school that I had been in from year 6. I went to another primary school in the same sort of area. I left in year 2 or year 3, one of them, when I moved to Bahrain. So I recognized a lot of people from that school. 2 of my childhood best friends actually went to the school. There's one who, you know, I claimed my best friend, and then there was someone else who our mothers are best friends even till now. Yeah, they both went to that secondary school, but I noticed a notable change in our friendship, and I think it has a lot to do with like puberty and growing up. Like, there's a point in your life where things shift from playing around in the playground to, like, you know, you become a teenager and you want to be cool and you want to do the cool things. I think that he caught up to that faster than I did, and so I would say that growing up I was a bit of a late bloomer. Still feel like I'm a late bloomer in many ways, and so yeah, struggled a little bit there. I even had another close friend from childhood. My mums were friends. I remember when I saw her and I wanted to hang out with her, she said to me, "You're not cool enough for me to hang out with you," or something like that. Yeah, listen, Grace, we were all in year 7, we were all at 11 years old, so really maturity levels in the bin, right? But basically the point is, I didn't carry over any friends into secondary school like other people did. That's how it started. I'd be sitting on the bench by myself and crying because I didn't have any friends. I felt like an afterthought in a lot of my friendships when they eventually did come. I was a good student. I really loved studying. I loved class. I when you're an eager beaver, it kind of puts a bit of a target on the back of your head. Very naive. The stuff that everybody's getting into, I wasn't getting into them. TV shows that everyone was watching, I wasn't watching them. I had my own interests. So I wasn't relating to people very well. I'm also struggled to find trousers that were long enough. And I remember back then, people would call them ankle swingers. And also, I think the last bit is, maybe it's not as aggravating now as it once was, but I know that it took me a long time to process my words. As a result, I struggled to keep up with conversation quite a lot. So that's kind of like the background of my school experience. Now, as for the actual bullying, I know I was bullied literally every day, but I don't actually remember much of it. I really feel like I have suppressed a lot of my memories. Like some of the bullying memories that I have is because my mum reminded me of the things that I told her. It was so traumatic. I didn't want to live anymore. I didn't want to be around anymore. I didn't want to be around. I hated my life. Why does everyone hate me? Why does everyone hate me? That's what it felt like. Now, one thing I really struggled with in my secondary years was body odor. Puberty slapped me in the face. No matter what I would do, and I really mean it, it was like I couldn't get rid of the smell. I think it was like hideable a lot of the time, but after like PE, it was pretty hard. After PE, we have to go back to the changing rooms, and we stand outside the changing rooms, and we're basically waiting for the doors to be unlocked. I just remember some girls just picking at me and calling me Bio and I don't know, just calling me a bunch of names and just laughing at me. It would start outside the changing rooms, it would continue into the changing rooms, and then even on the bus on the way home, people would stand in the front of the bus and publicly target me and make comments about how I smell. It was so embarrassing. Even now I feel teary-eyed. It happens so many times, and it's like I would go home and I would scrub so much to the point that I would bleed. I think I remember a time, oh my gosh, I remember a time when I literally scrubbed so much at my skin that it peeled off. Wow. And my mum tells me as well that there was a time on the bus where a girl slapped me or punched me. I don't know, it slapped me in the face. I can't remember. My mum wouldn't just say these things. I must have told her. People would make fun of me a lot in class. They call me teacher's pet and stuff like that, just because I liked class. I asked questions. My year group in secondary school, they must have all grown up to be a right bunch of charismatic characters, but they loved to misbehave. We were such a mischievous year group. So I guess in contrast, I must have come across as such a goody two shoes. Teachers liked me. They'd ask me to hand out work and stuff like that. They'd also often ask me to be the one to go to reception to call those people on the radio who needed to come to remove the students from class. Do you get what I mean? And then obviously that just meant that I also got picked on those people who got removed from class. So there's that. I remember I got stabbed in the hand with a pair of scissors because this guy wasn't a bully. He had anger management issues. He was asked to apologize to me. I remember he pulled out this other girl's hair, witnessed it. I remember being called for intervention interviews. So many of them, 3 or 4, where I had to sit in an interview, in a group interview with the head of house or the head of year, I don't know, one of them. I remember thinking why don't they do this for me? I remember there's this one guy who would always make fun of me was Caribbean. You do like ululating in front of the whole class. Where were the teachers? I don't know where. When I think about my bullying stories, I can't remember teachers. I don't know if they did anything or if they were just useless. Did they ever come for me or were they not there? I have no idea. I just have no clue. I remember like having like some wardrobe accidents and I had the whole class laughing at me. I think I was walking and like my shoe came off and then people picked up my shoe and threw it around, but I actually needed to leave. So they were like throwing around my shoe and stuff like that. And they just wouldn't give it back until I started crying. Boys would often dare other boys to ask me out, like as a joke. So they come up to me and they'd be like, oh, I want to go out with you or something like that. And obviously I can kind of see his friends kind of like laughing behind him. I think that's a good understanding of the sort of things that I went through.